Good evening, everybody, and welcome, and Happy New Year. Well, it's not Freddy Fix-It, but I guess you figured that one out. My name is Liz Goodman, and I'm a 20-year veteran of the film industry. And, well, just to give you an idea of how difficult and different it is to work in the film industry, about 3 hours ago, I got a call from a producer friend of mine saying he needed to fill a time slot. And 3 hours later, I'm on the air and sort of winging it. So hopefully you guys will bear with me as I try to get my foot straight and figure out what it is we're going to talk about tonight. But to begin with, I want to let you guys know, if you want to see me and know what I look like and know what this show is going to be about in the future, you can check us out on WNNradio.com or AMP2TV. That's WNNradio.com or AMP2TV. So just to give you a little bit of background about me, I worked in the film industry for 20 years. I had a TV production company. I worked with a lot of celebrities in Los Angeles and in New York. And I learned a lot about what works and what doesn't work in business. I learned how to market myself in a 1% world where very few people can get to. And I learned how to revamp myself on the fly so I can get a different position at any given time. Because working in the film industry is very competitive, and you can't stay the same. You have to be sort of a chameleon. And that's the same in business. Just to give you an idea of what I mean by learning how to revamp myself. 3 years ago, I lost my home in Hurricane Sandy in New York, in Long Beach, New York, actually. And not only did I lose my house, my kids' toys, my car, and all my belongings, but my husband was having an affair and he left to go live with another woman. So at that time, I had to think to myself, I had given up my career in the industry and I'd been a stay-home mom for 10 years. How am I going to start over? How am I going to rebuild my life? I picked up my kids, my 2 dogs, my 2 cats, and my 2 kids, and I moved to Florida to live with my mother for a very short period of time to try to figure it out. Well, let me ask you guys something. If you leave your business for 10 years, become a stay-home mom, do you think you can just get up and get a job again, just go back to work and everybody will say, hey, it's great to see you, great to get a job again? Well, it doesn't work that way. You have to rebuild and revamp and start over. So I did. I thought, how can I make something interesting of my life? How can I help others with all the vast experience that I have had over the years? PR and marketing. That's what I came up with, and it worked. So let me give you an example of that. When I worked in the television industry, I had to take celebrities and figure out how to spin stories around these celebrities and make them shine, let's say. Shine on TV shows like Geraldo, CNN, Showtime. And I had to make them stand out in the crowd. In order to do that, I had to give them something that made them special, create something unique about them. So when you're trying to market your business, what I suggest to you is the first thing you have to think about is what makes you different, what makes you stand out. And one of the most important things about marketing yourself and marketing your business is networking. Standing out in a crowd when you're networking, not just being a wallflower in the corner, watching and learning and seeing what everybody else is doing, but actually thinking to yourself, what can I do to make other people know who I am and what I'm trying to promote? One of the best tools we have is PR, public relations. Otherwise, social media is all you've got these days. And social media is just rampant in the marketplace. I mean, just everybody's utilizing it. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can't even stand out if you try to stand out because there's just so many people inundating the space. But PR is still something unique and different. That's why I'm doing this radio show, because this is a way for me to promote myself and promote my clients and promote their businesses. And in order to learn how to get in front of an audience, you have to think of what your story is that makes you unique. Tonight, I want to talk about a very special client of mine. Their company is called PrivéPay. Ever get turned down for a service, something you really, really, really needed? Like, for instance, having your tooth be terrible pain and having to go to the dentist and you can't get the work done because you just can't afford it. Or what about after a divorce like I'm going through and you want to have a little Botox done or a little bit of Juvederm or something to give you that added boost so you don't feel so, I don't know, just like everybody else in the crowd. You want to stand out? Well, this company PrivéPay actually came to my rescue. I recently had to have an implant done. I had to have my tooth taken out because I was in excruciating pain. I couldn't afford it. I mean, I'm a single mother. I just lost everything in a hurricane, and I had to move to Florida to start over. So I found out about Privé Pay. Privé Pay is pain-free funding right at your fingertips. So let me think about how I can explain it to you the best possible way. No credit checks, absolutely no social security number needed, very little money necessary in the bank, and you can go ahead and get a loan or funded by Privé Pay. How do you ask? Simple. All you need is to get a checking account number, a routing number, with a simple 5-minute go online at your doctor's office by sitting at their waiting room. And wait, let me start this all over because I've kind of blown it for 2 seconds simply because I'm nervous and on the air. But, that's part of the charm of having to do something live, is having to rethink what you're doing and start again. So I'm going to make this very clear and simple for you. Privé Pay is a great pain-free funding solution to help you get all of your procedures done, whether it's Botox or Invisalign or an implant. You can get them done by simply going online, giving your checking account and your routing number, and seeing if you get approved for up to $5,000. Since there's no credit check, all you need is a checking account. 90% of people get approved instantly. And as soon as you get the approval, you can go visit any doctor that carries Privé Pay. And if your doctor doesn't carry Privé Pay, you can simply call your doctor and tell them to go online to privepay.net. That's privepay.net, and ask them to carry Privé Pay. It costs them practically nothing to carry us. But the best part about it is you can now go see your doctor, get that implant done, get that Botox done without having to spend any upfront money other than a small 25% down payment. With that simple 25% down payment, let's say it's $1,000, you go in your doctor's office with $300 in the bank, and you'll get approved for that $1,000 with just a checking account. There's no interest, a very small fee, and before you walk out the door, you'll get the implant or the Botox that you needed and couldn't have afforded 5 minutes before you walked in that door. So it's a wonderful product. It's a wonderful opportunity to get work done that you couldn't have had before. Now, another company I want to talk to you about is a company called Sky H2O Water. Sky H2O is another client of mine that I've been helping to get promoted. What's so great about Sky H2O Water? Sky H2O is water that's made from the air and not the ground. I'm sure you're wondering to yourself, what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means. In the last several years, I'm sure you've been hearing a ton about the drought and about all the contaminants in the water from the EPA, from the FDA, from whatever other DA that there is. They're always talking about our contaminants, our pollutants, and all the horrible things that we find in our water today. Well, if you think about what distilled water is a water that comes from the ground, which gets contaminated, then it gets vaporized in a lab, gets put right back up into the air, and then it gets distilled. What do we use distilled water for? We use it for medical applications, for surgeries, whenever we need really, really pure water. So the process of purifying water is taking it from the ground, distilling it in a lab, then purifying it, vaporizing it, and then drinking it. The problem with drinking it is it's got a very low pH balance, under 5 pH balance. In order to have water that's drinkable, you need it to be over 7.8 pH balance. Well, Sky H2O is a solution to your problems. It's a water that's made straight from the atmosphere using an atmospheric water-generated machine. So what happens is the water comes straight from the condensation in the air, never touches the ground to begin with, doesn't get contaminated to begin with, and gets put right into a bottle and right for you to buy at the supermarket. It's a fabulous, fabulous, healthy alternative to drinking water bought in the store, bottled from the ground. It doesn't deplete the water's Earth's resources. It is the most amazing, fresh-tasting, healthy water you can drink. Okay, so now I've given you 2 different companies that I've been doing some work for. We're about to take a very short commercial break. I'm going to send it to the guys out in the other office back there, and I'll be right back. But don't forget to tune in tonight if you want to see the show at WNNradio.com and AMP2 TV. I'm Liz Goodman. I'll be right back in 30 seconds.
Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. Amp2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. Amp2.tv, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP, the number 2.tv.
Hi, welcome back. It's Liz Goodman again, and I am here at WNN Radio, and I'm winging it. And winging it is never an easy thing, I have to tell you. I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place, so I do apologize, but it is the beginning of a new year. We're all recovering, and I am trying to make this show work on the last minute fly. So let me tell you a little about some of the things I've done the last few years. I started my career naked on TV at the age of 2. Yes, I did say naked on TV at the age of 2. I was the Johnson & Johnson girl, and oh my goodness, that was so many years ago. But that led me to a career in television, first in front of the camera, then slowly I moved behind the camera. And I was really passionate about journalism. I became a broadcast journalist, and I worked for the news. And generally, I'm interviewing people when I'm standing here on camera or on the radio. So it's unusual that I'd be standing here by myself. But like I said, I went into a career in television. I started first as a journalist, uncovering stories. And then I opened up a commercial production company and produced some commercials that you may have heard of. One was ESPN's Game Day with Art Donovan, for all you old-timers out there who remember Art Donovan, and Chris Berman. And I worked with all the great football players, from Joe Theismann and Sterling Sharp, and really had a great time doing that. And then I moved over to commercials, and I produced a very famous commercial called the Excedrin Migraine Campaign, and that was a really fun project to work on. And then moved out to LA and got to work with a bunch of celebrities. I was really fortunate. I worked with Jennifer Aniston and John Travolta and Sean Penn and Farrah Fawcett. And you probably remember when I worked with Farrah Fawcett. It was a show called Farrah Fawcett's All of Me. That's pretty much what it was, folks. Farrah Fawcett's All of Me. So if you remember that, she was turning 50 and she was on Playboy, and she was naked on Playboy, rolling around, flaunting her body by putting paint all over herself and just sort of rolling on canvases. Well, let me tell you something, guys. I was what they call a second AD on that job, which meant my job was to basically babysit Farrah. Hell on wheels is all I've got to say. Farrah had her reputation for a reason. Nobody likes to speak ill of the dead, I know, but 18 to 22 hours of hell. The rest of my crew got to go home after 9. I had to spend 4 hours watching her get her hair put on and 6 hours watching her hair get taken off, and then another 3 hours watching her flaunt her boobs all over camera. It was definitely an interesting experience, that's what I have to tell you. And what I learned from that experience on 7 or 8 days of no sleep babysitting Farrah Fawcett, that is, if I can do this, I can do pretty much anything. And so I had a revamp after that job, because after that job I know this show is going in the wrong direction, but I did a show for Showtime, and it was called Sex with Strangers. And I did another show that was called She's So Lovely. So Sex with Strangers was a documentary done for Showtime about couples that swing. That was a very interesting storyline as well. And I was a journalist, so my idea was to take the story behind the scenes and learn, why do people behave this way? Why do they go into a whole different world and swing? What motivates them to do that? Whereas, of course, the network wanted me to go with TNA, TNA, TNA. I wanted to get behind the story. So as my career grew and as I blossomed as a journalist, I then started working with celebrities on feature films and learning more about that. Now, how did I segue from TV commercial to broadcast journalist to naked on TV at 2. It brings me back to the beginning of this segment, which was I learned quickly how to revamp myself, how to remarket myself, to reposition myself in the marketplace. When work dried up in the commercial industry and it was very difficult to get a job, I looked in the mirror and I said, what can I do to start again? So I left New York and went to LA, and I looked at the image inside myself and I said, how do I go for it and make it happen? Well, one of the things I did was I found ways to get myself in front of a camera. I found ways to create press. I thought outside the box. We're all taught to think inside a box. Nobody likes that expression outside the box. It scares them. Well, the only way you get anywhere in life is if you take that chance, you take that risk, and you think outside the box. You do something slightly different than the guy sitting next to you. So I worked with a company called Dr. G's Weight Loss when I first came to Florida. They were one of the few companies that gave me a chance. I was a TV producer trying to change myself once again and become a public relations person, a PR person. A single mom, just lost her house, no money in the bank, no husband, no way to get a job because nobody was hiring a has-been TV producer. I had to come up with something else. So I started positioning myself with news reporters and saying, I can help sell your story. I can help sell your company because I am used to being on the other side of it. I'm used to working as a producer and knowing what it is an audience will want to hear to make your company shine. I was the person that thousands of people would send stories to and ask to have their stories heard. And I had to choose on a fly, like I'm doing on the fly now, this bit, how to get that story across to the public. So when Dr. G's Weight Loss came to me and asked me to do some PR for them, they had this tiny little company, a separate internet that they had started that was called The Change of Life. It was a great idea. It was a small little idea they had to change someone's life by giving away a lot of free stuff to them, which ultimately was to promote their show. I took Change of Life, Boca, and turned it into when Extreme Weight Loss Edition meets The Biggest Loser with a simple local twist. We are going to change someone's life by completely and totally giving them a whole new look. Well, that same concept now falls into the new company I'm working with, which is Privé Pay. With Change a Life, Dr. G's was able to get 3 cover stories at the Sun Sentinel because I was able to figure out a way to twist that story into following one person throughout a 6-month period. So where one person can be followed from losing weight to gaining weight to losing weight and going through a process, your business can come up with a great little concept to help a newspaper want to follow your business concept. You can't do it by yourself. You have to stand out. It's very hard to get in the news and get into the press. But if you come up with that little niche, that little special something, you can figure out a way to get yourself over and over and over again in front of the camera. So Change Your Life changed people's life because they went from heavy to thin and unhealthy to healthy. My newest client, Privé Pay, changes people's life because these people can't afford to have work done that they desperately, desperately need. Instead, they have to walk out the door feeling really upset and depressed because they can't afford the services they wish they could afford. But now with Privé Pay, what can they do with $5,000? They can get their teeth whitened. They can get Invisalign. They can get Botox. They can get Juvederm. They can get pain-free with pain-free management techniques. They can get chiropractic. They can get anything they want to get as long as they have a few $1,000s available on revolving credit in their checking account. They don't have to give Social Security numbers. They don't have to have credit checks. They never have to have their credit affected. All they have to do is walk into that doctor's appointment for those appointments that they were afraid to go see their doctor about before. Walk in the door with a big smile, tell them that they want Privé Pay. And with Privé Pay, they can afford to have those services. Why? Because that doctor's office will offer them convenient monthly payment options to get pain-free in an instant. It's a wonderful company. I'm proud to be promoting it. And I'm proud to be doing this show tonight. And as time passes week by week, I will help you to figure out ways your business can help promote itself. We'll start a call-in program that you can call me here at the station, and I will answer your questions and help you come up with outside out-of-the-box concepts as to how you can promote yourself by getting yourself in the spotlight. So thank you so much for listening to my show. Again, if you want to see this show live, you can watch it tonight on WNNradio.com or AMP2 TV. And you can call in any time to ask me questions, and I can help you promote your business. My name is Liz Goodman. And tonight I'm promoting Privé Pay as one of my businesses, and that's PRIV as Victoria, EPAY.net. And that's www.privepay.net. And I'm also promoting a company called Sky H2O Water Corp. That's water made from the air, not from the ground. Two really wonderful companies that are natural, organically trying to help you to help yourself. I think we've got a few more minutes left of the show. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my background. But just in case you want to get in touch with Privé Pay directly, let me give you their phone number. It's 877-775-2124. That's 877-775-2124. If you want to reach me and email me directly at lgentertainmentgroup@gmail.com. That's L for Liz, G for Goodman, entertainmentgroup@gmail.com. Okay, so let me go through a little bit about my personal passion. I'm one of those blessed people that has been passionate from the day I was born. I always knew what I wanted. I knew how to go after what I wanted. I always sort of stood out in a crowd because when I wanted something, I went for it. Many of my friends used to say to me, they used to actually call me Showbiz Liz or Smiler because I was always happy. I think that's part of what makes somebody successful or stand out in a crowd. It's not because they are so different. It's because they have an inner shine, an inner glow, something inside them that appeals to others, that when they walk into a room, they stand out because they stand tall, because they smile, because they're happy. It's the same with a business. When you walk into a room filled with people and you're networking, and you get a little nervous, like I've been nervous now, and I'm actually shaking a little because I'm a little cold and nervous. But when you get in front of people, one of the techniques we use in the television world, and I'm sure you've used it in yoga, is to sort of close your eyes, take 10 slow, deep breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. By doing this, you lower your heart rate, you have a chance to focus, regroup, and then go in front of that crowd or go in front of that audience or go in front of that crowded room and do it with all gusto. And the biggest thing you have to remember is that the only one who gets hurt by not taking that step and not making those moves and not walking in with a big smile on your face is you, because it's a missed opportunity. Any missed opportunity is a missed chance for you to earn a living, feed your children, pay your bills, and keep a roof over your head. So if you want more answers to how to keep that roof over your head, which was a very difficult thing for me to do after Hurricane Sandy and I lost everything. Thank God I had family and friends. But if you need that extra little thing, that little Shazam inside you to help you focus and regroup when you walk into a room, call me or email me at lgentertainmentgroup@gmail.com. And I can sit there and help you figure out what it is about you that makes you special, you unique. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit cold, I told you. That makes you special and unique and that makes you stand out in a crowd. Anyway, in my last few minutes, I want to remind you again that one of the businesses I'm promoting is a company called Privé Pay at www.privepay.net. P as in Peter, R as in Randy, I, V as in Victoria, E as in Elizabeth, P as in Peter, A as in Andrew, Y as in yes, privepay.net. One of my favorite businesses to promote simply because what they do is they help you to get all the procedures that you need done to make you feel good about yourself so that before you go out and network yourself, you can get all the little things done that you've been putting off for years or months or days simply because you were afraid that when you got there, you wouldn't be able to afford it. Now, there's a couple of quick companies that have started using Privé Pay, and I'm really proud that they're a part of our company. One is Strax Dermatology, another is Boca Rejuvenation, and both of them are fabulous. And one of the things that the dermatologists are doing is we're creating something called Privé Pay parties. Boca Rejuvenation will be doing one on January 26th. You can stop by their location in Boca. Actually, it's on the border of Boca and Deerfield in Federal Highway. Between 5 and 9 on January 26th, you'll be given a free consultation. You'll be given a chance to get approved right there on the spot for Privé Pay. And if you get funded up to $5,000 in an instant, you can watch a live demonstration of a vampire procedure right there at Boca Rejuvenation. It'll be with champagne and red carpet and hors d'oeuvres. And anyway, thanks, folks, for listening to me. Check us out January 26th at Boca Rejuvenation, PrivéPay.net. And Liz Goodman signing out. Till next time, have a great night and happy New Year.